And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached into heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even if she has rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works. And the cup which she filled to her double.
All right, man. First and foremost, as always, we'd like to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, YHWH, in the name of His only begotten Son, YHWH. Welcome back to another Tools of the Trade video. As always, if you don't know me by now, my name is Captain IBADYAH Dagrz, Chief Captain of 12 Israelite School, based out of San Bernardino, California. And, you know, as always, you know, doing these Tools of the Trade, quick videos to help answer, you know, to help the brothers bring in more, you know, bring their answers to a lot of the basic questions. So let's go into the keeping of the law today. Today's video is titled Keeping the Law. You know, very basic, you know what I mean, because we got, you know, it's something that we have to do. And of course, we're always going to go into the Tanakh or the Old Testament, as, you know, your Christians like to say. So let's go to Isaiah 8:20. So, you know what I'm saying? Like I was saying, Isaiah chapter 8 and verse 20, to the law and to the testimony, if they did not speak according to the word, it is because there is no light in them. So, you know, obviously we're, you know, we see how it works. You know what I'm saying? How already the prophet Isaiah is saying, to the law, you know, being the Torah, the first 5 books, into the testimony, the Tanakh, all the testimonies that follow thereof. You know what I'm saying? If they don't speak according to it, it is because there is no light in them. They're filled with darkness, correct? But when we go into the Spanish translation, this is because it hasn't dawned on them, basically calling them sottish or foolish. You know, when we go into Deuteronomy chapter 4, and let me pull that. We'll see why, you know, because that is what our understanding is. We'll go into the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verses 5 and 6 real fast, so we can get a bit of understanding of what our wisdom is and why we're keeping the law. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4. And we're going to start at verse 5. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 5 and 6. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as YHWH, my power, commanded me, that ye should do in the land whither ye go to possess it. So these are things that were taught to Moses. You know, he was given these understandings. You know what I'm saying? He was given the understanding of the scriptures. You know what I mean? But how? Because these are what's given to us is that. But let's keep going. Verse 6: Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear these statutes and say, surely this is a great nation, is a wise and understanding people. So what's our wisdom and understanding? The Torah. You know what I'm saying? These laws that the Most High God had given us in the Mount of Sinai. You know what I'm saying? Let me see something real fast, brethren. This is Deuteronomy 4 and 5 in the GNT. I have taught you all the laws as YHWH my power told me to do. Obey them in the land that you're about to invade and occupy. Obey them faithfully, and this will show people of other nations how wise you are. When they hear of all these laws, they will say, what wisdom and understanding this great nation has. So no matter how you put it, we keep the law because it is our wisdom. But let's move on. Let's go to the book of Baruch, chapter 4, verses 1 through 3. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go into Baruch chapter 4, verses 1 through 3. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to touch on this in actually a couple, in 2 translations. There's another one we're going to touch in a couple translations. So let's go into the book of Baruch. Oh, let me highlight this one. Salakia. We're going to go into what's life and death in the scriptures as well. Let's go into the book of Baruch, chapter 4, verses 1 through 3. This is the book of the commandments of God, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life. So, you know what I'm saying? These are the books that endure forever. This is something that has, you know what I'm saying, that was given to us not for just a temporary time period, but for all time. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep going. It says, but such as leave it shall die. I mean, in the spiritual aspect, we see how Black, Hispanic, and Native American people have been living. But in the physical aspect as well, because if you get caught sleeping with that man's wife, unless, you're the Fresh Prince, chances are he's going to pop you. Something bad going to happen to you. So on and so forth. If you eat pork, you're going for a life or death sentence. Let's keep going, though. Turn thee, O Jacob, take hold of it, walk in the presence of the sight of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated. Because this is our light. This is the light to our path. So we must keep the law. Keep going. I'm going to keep going. Give not thine honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation. What do we like to do? We like to give what's profitable, our salvation, everything that's our women. We got to give it. We like to give it to other nations. What about the Gentile? What about the heathen? What about this nation and that nation? Not what about Black, Hispanic, and Native American people who have been oppressed? But let me finish it out with verse 4. O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to God are made known to us. These are the things that are pleasing unto the Most High, and they're made known to us. Let's read it in the Good News Translation. Let's go into Baruch chapter 4 in the Good News Translation, because understanding these scriptures is key, man. Let's go into the book of Baruch chapter 4 verses 1 through 4 in the Good News Translation. Wisdom is the book of God's commandments, the law that will last forever. All who hold on to her will live, but those who abandon her will die. Turn to wisdom, people of Israel, and take hold of her. Make your way toward the splendor of her light. Do not surrender our glorious privileges to any other people. How happy are we, people of Israel? We have the advantage of knowing what is pleasing to God. So we understand. We see in the scriptures, even in the more modern text, it says, it tells you that these things are pleasing unto the Most High. Even the way, even the way it's given. Let's look at it in the NSRV. Let's look at the book of Baruch in the NSRV. We got to understand, so we got to understand some of these things, the things that are not revealed to others. Salakia, brethren. And some of these Bibles I've just started really going through. Let me edit that out anyway. So Salakia, brethren. Let's go into the book of Baruch, chapter 4, verses 1 through 4, in the NSRV, the College of Note, NSRV. She is the book of the commandments of God, the law that endures forever. All who hold her fast will live, and those who forsake her will die. Again, likening wisdom unto a woman, it's saying if we walk away from it, if we leave her, we're going to die. Let's keep going. Verse 3, do not give your glory to another or your advantages to an alien people. Happy are we, O Israel, for we know what is pleasing to God. So in every translation is telling you these things are pleasing unto the Most High God, YHWH. We've harped on that enough. Let's go into the book of Matthew, chapter 5. Verse 17 through 19. Let's see into who the world really calls YHWH, our Messiah, our King. Let's see what his words are. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 5, and verse 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. To the law and to the testimony, right? So Christ didn't come to destroy it. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. I like to, let me see something. It's this lesson I've taught in Spanish so many times, and I wish I mean, some things translate a little different. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5 and 17. This is the book of Matthew chapter 5 verse 17 in the Good News translation. Do not think that I have come to do away with the law of Moses and the teachings of the prophets. I have not come to do away with them, but to make their teachings come true. Remember that as long as heaven and earth last, not the least point nor the smallest detail of the law will be done away with, not until the end of all things. So then, whosoever disobeys even the least important of the commandments and teaches others to do the same will be the least in the kingdom of heaven. On the other hand, whosoever obeys the law and teaches others to do the same will be great in the kingdom of heaven. So, I mean, ultimately, we see that even Christ is saying don't do away with the law in a different translation. Let's go back to the KJV though, verse 8. Verse 18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of the least of the commandments, and shall teach men to do so, he shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach men the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. You know what I'm saying? And then they're going to try. See, if we go into the Pharisee scripture, all it's saying is to be about what you're about. Like me and my soldier Quashab were speaking on earlier. You know what I'm saying? It's a lifestyle. And with that lifestyle comes this law. We should be keeping it at all costs, no matter how we see it. Let's go into the book of John chapter 5 and verse 46. You know what I'm saying? Let's read in the book of John chapter 5 verse 46. John chapter 5 verse 46. For had ye believed Moses, ye had believed me, for he wrote of me. See, so you know what I'm saying? If you just believe Moses, then you'd believe Christ. But let's keep going. But if you believe not his writings, how shall ye believe my words? He said, if you don't even believe the law of Moses, how are you going to believe what Christ is teaching? How are you going to understand the parables? How are you going to get the deeper matters if you can't even get the keeping of the law? This is why keeping these law, statutes, and commandments are so important to us, man. Let's go into the book of Acts 24 and 14. Let's see how our beloved brother Paul handled the law. The book of Acts, chapter 24, verse 14. But this I confess unto thee, that after the way which they call heresy, so I worship, I, the God of my fathers, believe in all things which are written in the law and in the prophets. I mean, Paul is saying that you might call it a heresy, but we believe all things written in the scriptures, all things. There's a meme going around Instagram, Facebook, and all social medias where it says, the Israelites are the only people that believe the Bible completely. And that's very true. Well, I get into discussions with Christians and back and forth. That's, I mean, they're full of shit, man. For a lack of a better term, they're full of shit. They're full of it. Let's go into the book of Romans, chapter 3 and verse 31. We're going to read a couple versions of this. You know what I'm saying? Let's go into Romans, chapter 3 and verse 31. Because, I mean, we got to understand that the keeping of the law is key, man. This is the book of Romans, chapter 3, verse 31. Do we then make void the law through faith? So Paul, our brother Paul is asking, are we doing away with the law because we have faith? You know, Christians are big on faith, right? Boom. God forbid. Yea, we established the law. See, they established the law. But let's go into a couple different translations. Let's go into the NSRV first. And for those that looks, this is what one edition. This is the 4th edition. You know what I'm saying? They use these in seminary schools, I suppose. But let's go into Romans chapter 3 and verse 31. So let's go to Romans chapter 3, and we're going to read out verse 31. Do we then overthrow the law by faith? See, now it's very clear, right? Do we then overthrow away the law, which is what these Christians, Catholics, these Mormons, they've all said. You know, they're overthrowing the law. We don't have to keep the law. Do we then overthrow the law by this faith? By no means. On the contrary, we uphold the law. we uphold the law. So we're gonna move on to the Good News Translation, right? Let's move into the Good News Translation. I think I have it here too. Let me see if I have it highlighted here though, because this is my street Bible family. Let's go into Romans 3:31. How many bigger letters, brethren? So we're gonna use a bigger version. This is the GNT with the Deuteronomicals, if y'all need it. You know what I mean? This is one that's, you know, just has the 60 books, the 66 books, Salakia. So let's go into Romans chapter 3, verse 31 in the Good News Translation. Does this mean that by this faith we do away with the law? No, not at all. Instead, we uphold the law. Let me see if this is in this one. Telling you that we, you know what I'm saying, we uphold this law. Like, we got to live by it. You know what I'm saying? We got to live by this law. And in the final translation we're going to read out of for this video, and, you know, and I hope this is edifying, you know, brothers and sisters out there, you know what I mean, coming across my videos. You know what I'm saying? This is the book of Romans, chapter 3 and verse 31, right? And now this is the Living Translation. A lot of y'all have seen the NLT, the New Living Translation. Well, this is the one prior to it. And funny story, I found this when I was taking out my trash one day. Some Jake left it in my apartments, and hey, it became mine. This is the book of Romans, chapter 3, verse 31, in the Living Translation. Well then, if we are saved by faith, does this mean that we no longer need to obey God's laws? So you see, now Paul's asking, because they say we're saved by faith. Does this mean that we do away with God's laws? Just the opposite. Just the opposite. In fact, only when we trust YHWH can we truly obey him. You know what I'm saying? In fact, so this keeping of the law is showing the trust in YHWH. I mean, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. I mean, and again, these are quick videos. I pray to the Most High God that these are edifying to Israel. You know what I'm saying? As you stumble across them. Again, if you're an Israelite coming into the truth, new into the truth, you're local in San Bernardino or the Inland Empire or like in the National City area, you know, hit the in the description box, the email and all that. You know, get in contact with us. Any questions that brothers have, you know, hit the email in the inbox, like, share, subscribe. You know what I mean? We keep doing this thing. But with that, we like to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, YHWH. We say Shalom.